Alright, so today I want to show you some of my female ball pythons, some of the ones that I've been pairing up with my males. I've been pairing them up for about 2.5 months now, and I'd say most of my females are actually off of food, and pretty much all my males are off of food, so I have a whole bunch of snakes that aren't eating. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of holdbacks from last year that are all approaching that 1,000-gram wall, and almost all of those are off of food. I actually went through feeding day yesterday, and out of about 50 snakes, I only had about 5 that actually took rodents. It's pretty incredible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start pulling some tubs and show you some of these females. You can kind of get an idea of what kind of a part of the cycle they're in just by their body condition and how they're acting, where they're moving from in the tub. Usually once you start pairing them up, they come up and coil up around the water bowl. It's kind of interesting. So I'm just gonna go through and start pulling some tubs. Alright, so I want to start with one of my oldest ball pythons. This one is actually 10 years old. It's pretty amazing. This is my Lemon Blast female. I actually bought her pretty much at the start of when I was breeding. I actually got this one over on Morph Market. Was looking for some of the biggest snakes. Got this really big female. She can lay an incredible amount of eggs. It's pretty amazing. I'm actually breeding this one with my Coral Glow male. So I'm kind of shooting for the Coral Glow pinstripes again, which is a really awesome combo. And you can definitely tell on this one, she's moved up from the hot spot over to the, you know, they kind of, once they start developing eggs, they start cold seeking and coming to the front of the tub, which is a good sign, and her body condition looks fantastic. She has some nice, really big girth to her. I'm almost sure, almost 100% sure that this girl is going to lay a huge clutch of eggs, and I just sprinkled her down a little bit and got the water can, gave her a little bit more moisture in here. You definitely want to keep them hydrated during this time because they pretty much don't eat. You definitely don't want to forget about them. It's just sitting in the tub waiting for the eggs to be laid. So here's another Lemon Blast over here. I'm not sure exactly the age on this one. I actually bought this as part of a package deal when I bought a whole bunch of females at the same time. I think I bought like 8 or 9 females. And this one I'm actually breeding with my Bamboo Calico male. So I'm hoping for the 4-gene combo, hoping for a male that would actually have the Bamboo Calico Pastel Pinstripe in that mix. And she looks like she's really building eggs really good, nice and beefy. Still sitting on the hot spot. Looks like she hasn't gotten to the point where she's cold seeking yet, but really developing really well. And she hasn't been eating, which is a really good sign that she might lay in a clutch of eggs later on this spring. So I actually have my pied female way up on the top here. I wasn't sure if she was gonna lay or not, but she started eating live rats kind of right at the end. She was a really picky eater for a really long time. Finally started doing live rats. I've been trying to really increase the humidity on her. Looks like she's kind of stuck in a shed a little bit here. It's stuck in a shed and going into another shed. Not really very good for this girl. I probably should have taken her out and soaked her, but you know, now that she's developing eggs, it looks like she's really nice and beefy, like she's actually gonna lay some eggs. This one I paired with my fire pied male, so all the offspring will be pieds, half of them will be fire pieds. Really awesome combos. So I have another girl way up on the very top. My lights almost don't even reach way up here. She's way up on the top. This is my albino female, and I actually paired my albino pied male with this beautiful albino female, and she started eating pretty good when I was pairing up and right before pairing up, and then right at the end she started regurgitating almost every single meal. So I'm kind of not really sure if she's actually gonna lay some eggs or not. She probably, I don't know, she's kind of looking like she might have some pretty good body condition, but she was having some problems with the regurgitation, which really kind of concerned me. I'm not sure exactly why that was going on. As a matter of fact, last year she was probably one of my #1 snakes that was regurgitating the most, just kind of throwing up the rats after she ate them. And she's a live feeder only, and you can definitely tell she's still in the hot spot, not coming up to the cold side just yet. So I have another female over here in this 50-40 rack. The tubs are a little bit smaller, and this is usually where I breed them for the first couple times, and then once they start getting some weight on them, I move them to another tub. This is actually my, it's a pastel spider, possible het pied, possible yellow belly. And this year I'm actually breeding my albino pied to this girl. So I'm kind of trying to prove out the pied part of it. And it'll be interesting to see if she actually lays some eggs, if I actually get some yellow belly, which would be pretty cool. And the funny thing is I've had this girl now since she was a hatchling. She's almost 5 years old, never laid eggs. It's pretty frustrating with some of these snakes that just really don't grow very fast, don't eat very well, and they just kind of lag behind. So I'm not sure if this girl's actually going to go this year, but it'll be interesting to see if she does, what the offspring would look like. So down here I have this beautiful pastel calico female. She's fantastic. As a matter of fact, last year I bred Bobby to this one and got some really cool, it was calico bamboos. And I had one that was a pastel calico bamboo, fantastic looking snake. And I actually sold it, it was pretty amazing. And this year I'm actually breeding my pastel desert ghost to this one, hoping to get the calico in the desert ghost project, which would be pretty cool. This was a pretty high expression calico in some of the bamboo combos. Doesn't look really high expression in this female. She's really got some really big size to her. I can almost guarantee this girl is gonna lay some eggs. She's building really good, looking really big and beefy. Last year, it was actually the year before she had the year off. As a matter of fact, this year, I didn't think she was gonna get up to size because she stopped eating for a really long time. And then I kind of transitioned over to live just for a little bit, got her going, and then she started pounding the fresh killed and frozen thawed really good. Really got up some good body weight this year. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what I would expect out of this. I would actually expect the calicos and the pastel calicos, super pastel calicos. Everything is going to be het for Desert Ghost. So out here on my pool table, I actually have my reticulated python Lucy. She's a 50% Gempea dwarf, not quite as big as a full mainland reticulated python. And the funny thing is she was really unhappy in this 6-foot enclosure, kept pushing and pushing. Then I moved her over into my boa tub. And the funny thing is it sounded like she was getting a little respiratory infection. So I dialed way back on the humidity. Another thing I did to really stop her from pushing is I started turning out the lights in this enclosure. It's a big 6-foot enclosure, and for some reason I think since she doesn't have a hide, it's really difficult for her to really get comfortable in this enclosure. And what I did is I turned out the lights, essentially making the whole thing a one big hide, and then she seemed perfectly happy. She hasn't been eating at all, and she's building some really good body size. I'm thinking this year she may actually breed for the very first time. I'm breeding her with my purple albino super dwarf reticulated python. So up here I actually have a normal female. This is actually one of the ones, I actually got this snake for free on Craigslist. Last year she laid some eggs, had a pretty good clutch. This time I'm pairing her with that white snake is actually a bamboo lesser from last year. I'm trying to breed this one with 3 different females. So all my other ones I'm pretty much pairing up with 2, and I rotate them through the whole cycle. And then I'm pretty much right at the end of the cycle to where I'm breeding this one pretty much after everyone else has been bred with their females. He's on the 3rd female in the cycle. So actually today what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this male from the female, and the way she's looking, I don't think that she's actually going to lay some eggs this year. It's kind of interesting, and she's going into a shed, so I kind of just wet her down a little bit. But these are some really beautiful snakes, especially this white one. And it's kind of interesting. This normal is pretty much as normal as you can get in a normal, just a basic wild type classic ball python. She was kind of stuck in a shed a little bit. She's going into another shed, which is, I don't know why I'm having problems with the shed. I've been trying to really stay on top of the humidity. It's just so dry here in Colorado. It's probably one of the most difficult things. Alright, so here's another normal female that I'm breeding to that bamboo lesser, and this one's pretty much on the edge. I'm not sure if this one's going to lay either. Not really the best body condition at this point in the season. I would expect that it would have a little bit more thickness to it. Sometimes they breed a little bit late though, so you never know. Sometimes these snakes can surprise you. You just keep pairing them up and then you pretty much get what you get. I'm thinking this one's probably on the edge, 50-50. I may or may not get some eggs from this girl. All right, so this girl is a beast. She is in an ARS 8018 tub and fills a good portion of the tub. This is probably, I think this is my largest snake. She, right before she lays eggs, she's about 5,000 grams. Really big snake. This is actually a female 100% het caramel albino. Last year she actually produced some scaleless head offspring that were males, and I grew up those males over the year, and I'm breeding the males back to this female, trying to prove out the 50% het caramel albino. So you know what I'm shooting for? I'm shooting for the scaleless head visual caramel albino. And let me tell you, this girl, she could probably lay, I think last year she laid about 13 eggs. So if this one actually lays, it's gonna be a really big clutch. So I have another really big girl here. She is almost as big as the other one. This one is pretty much the exact same snake as the last one. She's 50% het caramel albino. And I'm pretty much doing the same thing. I actually held back 3 of those male scaleless head 50% het caramel albino, and I'm breeding those back to this one to try one way or another to get the caramel albino scaleless head. Pretty much once I get that, I'm hoping for a male actually, and if I actually get that, I'll probably unload these females. As a matter of fact, if I get a male and a female, I may actually save both of them and then grow them up, breed them both together to get the completely scaleless caramel albino, which would be really awesome. But this girl, you can see she's got not quite the body condition up here. It's kind of interesting, almost like she could have eaten a few more rats before she went on a fast. So I'm thinking this girl may lay. I know the other one pretty much for sure will lay, but you really never know one way or the other. The funny thing is she's kind of coming up from the back, kind of coiling around the bowl a little bit, which means she could be a little bit further along. So I have a Pinstripe Female down here. I almost gave up on this one. She didn't eat for a really long time after she laid eggs last year. And then right at the end, she started eating really heavy, eating a whole bunch of rats. And I'm actually pairing my Coral Glow with this one, shooting for some more Coral Glow pinstripes. One of my favorite morphs, the Coral Glow pinstripe. Really awesome combo. Definitely looks like this one's gonna lay. You can definitely see she's got some really nice body condition, nice and plump. So I have a Pinstripe Pied in one of these smaller drawers here. This is an ARS 5040. She is 3 years old. This will be the first time she lays, if she actually lays some eggs. I'm actually breeding this with my Fire Pied. So if this one actually lays, I will get Pieds, I'll get Pinstripe Pieds, I'll get Fire Pieds, and I will get Fire Pinstripe Pieds. It'll be a really awesome clutch. I'm thinking she's a little bit jumpy. I'm thinking she actually might lay some eggs. She's looking pretty good. But a small girl like this, she'd probably only lay, you know, maybe 6, maybe 7 eggs if I'm lucky. I'm thinking more than likely I'll probably get about 6 eggs from a small girl like that. So I have a clown female here, and all I can say about this girl is sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. This girl actually laid last year. She produced a clutch of 6 eggs. They all hatched. They were my triple hat, my albino pied clowns. I held them all back. And I thought, you know, she actually came out of the breeding season. She was eating really, really heavy, and then as soon as I paired her up, she went off of food, and I don't think she's actually gonna lay any eggs this year. Doesn't really have the body condition. She's looking really thin, and the problem is she's actually off of food, which makes things worse. If she was still eating, she may have a chance, but I don't think in her current condition that she'll actually lay. I was actually pairing my Banana Inchy Clown with this girl, hoping to get some more of those awesome banana clown combos. Doesn't look like this one is actually gonna go this year. All right, so this is probably one of my most exciting projects of the whole season. This is actually my lesser clown female, trying to hit the clown stuff really hard. And I was actually breeding my Banana Inchy Clown male to this one to get, hopefully I'll get the Banana Inchy lesser clown offspring out of this one, and I'm hoping to hold at least some more female clown stuff back. It's kind of interesting that I actually have 2 separate female clowns. As a matter of fact, I'm getting to the point where some of these ball pythons are so stubborn. If you're into a project and you really want eggs at some point, it's almost best to buy 2 females to make sure one way or another you're actually going to get a clutch of eggs. But I'm really looking forward to this. Is actually she's got some really great body condition, looks really big and beefy. I can almost guarantee that this girl is going to lay some eggs this year. So I have one more project that I'm really excited about, and that is my Desert Ghost project. I'm actually breeding my male Desert Ghost to my female pastel spider Desert Ghost. And the funny thing about these projects is you get into the beginning of the year and you think you're doing really well, and then you never know, like a month or two into it, whether these snakes are actually going to go. And really what you need to do is go by the body condition, and you can see how nice and plump this one is. Looks really good. She's hissing a little bit because she's in shed, but it looks like I may actually get some visual Desert Ghost stuff this year instead of all the hets that I've been producing. Alright, so it is time for the question of the day. And Samantha Kinney asks, is there any way I can put a hold on some of Bobby's babies for the upcoming season? And that is a very good question. This is Bobby around my neck, my bamboo ball python. As a matter of fact, I'm not breeding Bobby this year, I'm breeding some of his offspring. So everything I produce this year will actually be Bobby's grandkids. Pretty awesome. And the funny thing is at this point, I really don't have eggs, and it's kind of tricky breeding snakes. You're never really sure if you're going to get eggs, and you're not really sure if they're all going to hatch, you know, how many bad eggs you're going to get, or if you're going to get slugs, or, you know, other things can happen, especially with the odds. So for example, if you breed a bamboo to another snake, you're expecting about 50% bamboos. Sometimes the odds can play against you. You know, sometimes you'll have like one bamboo and then 7 or 8 non-bamboos kind of play, and sometimes it's just the opposite, where you can have a whole clutch of bamboos where the odds are 50-50. So it's kind of hard to say how many snakes I'm going to have. The other thing is sometimes the eggs can go bad in the incubator, or if your incubator fails or something happens like that, you never really want to sell them before you actually hatch them. You know, once they lay them, it's another 2 months in the incubator. So I'd say it's kind of risky trying to sell snakes up front or even put a hold on them. But probably what I'll do is as soon as they hatch out, I'll advertise them for sale, and then I'll just sit on them for a month or two until I get enough rodents into them until it's safe to ship out. Maybe do a pre-sale that way. So that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.